the light itself. I like to compare it to paint. So let's say I have a little brick on a wall that I need to paint, and I have a whole bucket of paint, right? I can use that whole bucket. I'm going to paint that little brick. I'm going to use the whole bucket of paint, paint that brick, right? And that brick's going to be really saturated in that paint. Let's say it's red. It's going to be really red because I've used the whole bucket of paint on it. Whereas if I have a wall, a whole wall that I got to use that bucket for, it's going to be spread out thinner, so it's not going to be as red. So the same thing occurs with light. If the light has to focus on such a small area, it's going to be more intense. So that means your lower degrees are going to be more intense at full as opposed to a 26 degree or your higher degrees at full, because those guys are going to they're covering more space. Remember, your lamp is 1,000 watts. So you have a 1,000 watt lamp in a 26 degree, you have a 1,000 watt lamp in a 10 degree. The 10 degree hits a smaller circle, where the 26 degree hits a wider circle. So it's just common sense to know that if it has more area to fill, then it's going to be less intense, even though it's the same lamp and the same degrees and the same intensity. I guess another good example would be taking a flashlight and going into a small closet, right? That flashlight's going to light up that closet brightly. But if you take that same flashlight and go into an empty gymnasium, you might not be able to see anything because it is trying to cover all that space. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, this is a lens barrel right here of an ellipsoidal reflector spotlight, which you'll see in a video too as well. And this is an example of a par can, which I liken to a headlight in a coffee can, pretty much. And then we have cyclorama lights. Okay, so we've talked about cycloramas, which are the white cloths in the back that are big, and we like to use them to create silhouette effects. So if we have a red cyc, or it's lit with red, and people are in front of it, and the people aren't lit, just the cyc's lit, you'll see what we call I just lost my train of thought. But you see, silhouette. You'll see the silhouette effect, where you just see a blackened body, whereas if they were lit in front, you could actually see them. So they're pretty cool features that you can do with the cyclorama light. Now, to light a cyclorama light, you need pretty much like a floodlight. So if you have specific floodlights that you're using to light a cyclorama, you can actually call those cyclorama lights. Most of the time, though, they're square. And here's a good example of the old school ones, which are square, that you can use to light a cyc. And usually you have three colors. You have red, blue, and green, because if you haven't figured that out yet, those are the primary colors of light. Red, blue, and yellow is the primary color of paint, but the primary color of light is red, blue, and green. So that means that if you mix colors together, you can create different colors of light. So you really only need three colors of cyc lights to get a plethora of different colors. Because with those three colors, as you mix up their intensity and different levels, you can come up with all kinds of different. Okay, and then we go into LEDs. Now that is a good segue. I won't go into so much LEDs right now, but LEDs are more commonplace nowadays. The conventional lights of today, where you have this lamp and you have the electrical source and you have the reflector, and it's just shooting, and then the lamp goes out, and then you got to replace it with the gas and all that. It's more moving towards LEDs, and as LEDs become more and more inexpensive, that's just the way to go, because you get this brighter, intenser light, and they last a little bit longer. They don't get as hot, and the only thing is that purists really don't like them, because you don't get that orangey color of a light bulb, or I called it a bulb, of a lamp. You get pure white light in a way, but it still works the same. So whenever you're trying to mix LEDs to get different colors, you might see RGBW, which means that lamp has an LED that's red, LEDs that's green, LEDs that's blue, and LEDs that are white. Some of them don't have the white, because you can just turn on the RGBs and get white light. So if you mix the reds, the blues, and the yellow at all the same intensity, you're going to get white light. Same thing with gels. If you have a light with a red gel in it, a light with a blue gel in it, and a light with a green gel in it, and you shoot them all in the same area, you're going to get white light. So a lot of people have strip lights above their stage, and all those have a red, blue, and green. Some of them have amber, but if you just turn the red, blue, and green on, you'll get regular white stage light, and a lot of people use those as their regular work lights or stage lights, but they get really, really hot. So it goes into storage racks. You've probably seen these. These are in the hallway outside of the theater. Color media, gels, filters. We can go into that into detail. I want y'all to go ahead and look over that, though. Okay, so let's talk about gobos real quick, just in case. I mean, I'm expecting everybody to read this, but one thing you need to know about a gobo is pretty much a piece of metal that's been cut out, and the light shines through it, and it reflects that image or projects that image onto something. So this particular gobo right here, the black part would be the metal, and you would slide it into a gobo holder and to an ellipsoidal. And because you can't do it with a Fresnel, you can only do it with the ellipsoidal, and then that will project whatever image you want onto the alternate image. So here the white is cut out, and the light will shine through it, and you'll see this window. And if you shine this on the back of curtains, it looks like light shining through a window, which is a really cool effect. But metal is not the only type of gobo you can have. You can have glass. In some of my shows, I've used broken up pattern glass and a gobo rotator, where it's a mechanism that you can put into a ellipsoidal that it spins the gobo around, and if you unfocus it, it looks like water is waving. And this is a good example of that too as well. So if this was in there and it was spinning around and you unfocused it and you had blue light going through it, it would look like rippling water, which is really cool. Here's a good example of the two different sizes of gobo holders. You just slide them in there. Now these gobo holders are for metal only. You'd have to get special ones for glass. And by the way, you can create your own metal gobo. Well, you can't create it. You have to send it off to get laser cut. But you can get it for $50. Like if you have a logo you want to put on, project up, like a dance show's going on, you want to project the dance logo on the curtains or on the walls on the proscenium arch, you can do that for $50. But if you wanted to use a glass gobo, depending on the color, how many different colors are in there, those things are a lot more expensive. But they look like you're just projecting pictures pretty much. Okay, here's some gobo holders with some gobos in them, and then the ellipsoidal reflector. Oh, here's a good picture of a gobo rotator that I talked about earlier. This has a metal gobo in it, but all you do is you put the gobo in there and you slide that through, and it creates the spinning effect, which is really a cool thing to have. Oh, and there we go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end my part of the presentation. Please do me a favor and take a look at the videos that are going on after this. And I do have a homework assignment for you guys. I want to see your first photo, okay, of your independent project. So you have 4 of them, right? You have one at the beginning, one at 25%, one at 75% done, and then your completed project. I want to see your first picture. You're the one where you have everything laid out before you even build it. I want to see the very beginning of what it is that you're going to do. In addition to that, I want to see your other 2, if you didn't turn them into me, your other 2 inspirational photos. So by Sunday at 11:30, I need to see your first image of your project. If you have gone to your 25%, I want to see that one too as well. But right now, I just want to see the first image that you're going to give me, and the 2 additional photos of your inspiration. Okay, and if you have any questions, please feel free to email me and let me know, and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Thanks, guys. You have a good one.